Good evening, good evening. It's Tiago's father, 89 here from the Red Sea podcast. And if you're tuned in right now, you have probably seen what I've just seen. An absolutely fantastic game of football if you're a neutral. And you would feel hard done by if you're a red, but you'd also feel hard done by if you're a Chelsea fan. Liverpool and Chelsea play out a score draw 2-2, and two absolute moments of brilliance from Liverpool, and again 2 absolute moments of individual class from Chelsea. We get into it right here, right now on the Red Sea Full-Time Show. Let's go.
Tell the world we are Liverpool, champions of England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. The Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of Anfield gold. We are unsupported, and we come from Liverpool.
Yes. We are back again with another episode of Red Sea Full Time, and it is Liverpool 2, Chelsea 2. Guys, we have gone to the bridge and we have drawn. Ordinarily, the complex and landscape of the Premier League would dictate that a draw at the bridge wouldn't be such a bad result after the absolute frantic end-to-end game of football we've just witnessed. That it's like two heavyweight boxers, as the commentary said, slugging it out in the middle of the ring and no one backing down. You know, Liverpool were absolutely fantastic in those frantic moments in the first half, and it was almost like vintage rock and roll Klopp football. And then Chelsea came with two absolute moments of brilliance. But SS looks a little bit subdued.
Yeah,
and I'm sure we're going to get into why. So, guys, let's dissect the first half of football. SS, Take it away, bro. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, looking at the lineup, we hear that there's Jurgen Klopp's not going to be there, announced yesterday, and then that there's three mysterious people that are also going to be missing, and you're hoping they're not crucial players, but Matip, Alisson, and Firmino all would have featured. Two of them probably would have started. Firmino was a 50-50 coin cost, wasn't he, with Mane or Jota? So already we're at a bit of a disadvantage, but you know, apart from that, the lineup looked fairly good, I'd say. I was quite surprised to see Milner in there from the beginning. We don't usually see Milner, Hendo, Fabinho in a midfield three together because they're not the quickest, not the most energetic, they're not the most attackive. They're all quite steady, aren't they, those three? So I was a little bit surprised not to see an Ox or a Keita in there from the beginning. And as you said, in a game that was going to be quite frantic, quite high energy, I think that would have helped us in the first half. But in terms of dissecting the game, I mean, you know, what a fantastic start. Mane nearly gets sent off after about 6 seconds, but he bounces back. A mistake from Chalobah at the back. And he does well. Goes around the goalkeeper, puts it in, past the player on the line as well, which puts us on away. And then lovely bit of play from Trent, playing in Mo Salah, who just makes it look so easy, doesn't he? And, you know, from 2-0 up after 26 minutes, for me, it had another kind of Spurs feel about it as well. That was 2-2 as well a couple of weeks ago. I just think from there, I think we let 2 goals in, as you mentioned, with about 3 minutes left of the first half. And teams that go on to win titles get goals in these moments, not give them away. So for me, we showed a soft underbelly today.
I have to disagree. Again. I have to disagree. The key thing with these games is, and it suited us. This frantic, all energy, all attack totally suited us, simply because we were missing our conductor in the middle of the field. And regardless of what you say about his availability and so on and so forth, Thiago is a huge part of what we now do. And I said this at the beginning of the season, we are now witnessing Liverpool 2.0. What we saw today was Jurgen Klopp all out, heavy metal, full frantic panic mode football, where it's wave after wave after wave after wave of attack, counter press, attack, counter press, attack, counter, press, attack. That's what we saw today. And we would never have controlled the midfield simply based on the numbers that Chelsea put into the midfield. We would have looked at that fixture and seen that Chelsea were not playing with Jorginho, who is their conductor.
Yeah, he's been in good form. Surprised he wasn't playing.
But the reason why he wasn't playing is because Chelsea knew that we were going to, because we didn't have Thiago, that we were going to come out and press the hell out of them. And this is what we said on our pre-match show with Monster CFC, is that Jorginho would have got pressed. But interestingly, what we would have done to Chelsea is what they done to us with this man here. Fabinho had his worst game for a very long time.
I think that's incredibly harsh. I think he played well.
He had moments where he looked panicked, and every time he got that ball, Mason Mount was on him like a hound dog. Had Jorginho been playing, it would have been Jota that would have been on him like a hound dog. So Chelsea played with so much tempo because they didn't have Jorginho. He slows things down for them.
I thought Kante and Kovacic were probably their best two players on the pitch today.
Kovacic was sensational.
I think they dominated
the midfield. Man of the match. And
like you say, Chelsea play a 5-2-3, or the two centre midfielders against our three. So in a midfield battle, I would expect us with a three to come out on top, but we really didn't. I mean, the first half an hour, it was a little bit messy from both teams, but we got a 2-0 lead, and from there, again, I just feel that a midfield three of a steady Eddie, Hendo, Milner, and Fabinho should be able to have enough quality to take the sting out of that game and slow the game down. And like you say, conduct someone like Fabinho, Henderson, and Milner in the midfield. Milner's usually the person to come on to do exactly that. If you're 2-1 up, it's the 70th minute, Milner comes on and sees out that game. So to carry on crazy heavy metal football at 2-0 for me was a mistake. And if you want to be a top team, sometimes you do need to roll the dice and go, let's just go for it. We're away to Chelsea. We're not in great form. They're not in great form. Let's see what happens. But, you get the 2-goal lead, you get the break, and you think, well, now we change. And I know we were missing Thiago, and that's a big part of how we play in that style. But Henderson and Milner and Fabinho, especially the English guys, have been here for a while and been in every situation you could imagine in a Liverpool shirt. So I just thought it was a little bit disappointing. And you look at the Chelsea goals. Kovacic's goal is a 1 in a million. It's a great finish. As you said, he couldn't do that again in the next 99 tries. But Kelleher doesn't really do anything wrong. It's a fizzed in corner. He palms it away.
He does very well. He does very well.
I think Kelleher had a really good game. I was really impressed with him, and seeing Adrian and Karius nowhere near his team makes me very, very happy. But the second goal for Chelsea, for me, I blame Konate a little bit for this one. I don't know if you've watched it back yet, but he gets dragged really far out of his position. The ball's played down the left-hand side. He comes to try and close Kante, who just lifts it over his head, and he's massively out of position. And Henderson has to try and sprint back. And Pulisic versus Henderson in a race is only one winner, I'm afraid. And it's a good finish from Pulisic, but I just feel Konate, a little bit inexperienced, maybe coming out where he could have probably held his position there as well. So it's a disappointing result for me because, I predicted a 1-1 draw before the game on our preview show. And overall, a draw would have been good, but I agree with some of the guys in the comments. If you're 2-0 up, Daddy Pig's in there. We saw it against Brighton at home, 2-0 up, throw it away. 2-0 up at Chelsea, throw it away. That's 4 points. Unfortunately, that's 4 points if you want to win a title with Manchester City in your league that you can't afford to give away.
So again, so interestingly enough, Brighton, no Thiago. Game today.
But should we have to rely on one player to see out a 2-0 lead with your Liverpool?
I don't necessarily think it's a reliance on one player. It's a style of play. We don't have, apart from Curtis Jones, who personally, I think should have been in there from the very start instead of Milner, because we would have been able to have had more ball.
Yeah,
we would have had more ball. We would have had, and like you said, 3v2 in there. You expect us to have more ball because we outnumber them.
Yeah.
But when they have the energy that they have, Kante is too.
Yeah, that's the best he's played this season for me. Yeah, he was brilliant. He's everywhere.
But that's what I'm saying. The game suited those types of players. Yeah. That frantic, hectic, all or nothing game of football suited Kante. It suited Kovacic. But if we would have had someone in there that can retain freaking possession, that can actually get a ball and say, hold on a second, I'm not going to just punt it forward. I'm going to get it. I'm going to play another pass. I'm going to get it. I'm going to play another pass, because that allows us to take the sting out of things.
Yeah.
Curtis Jones would have been that go-to. And I've been critical of Curtis Jones in the past, I know, because sometimes I feel he doesn't do the basics. But other than Thiago, there isn't anybody else in our team that can do that. Henderson, a lot of people say Henderson can do that, but I personally don't think that he can. I don't think that he can. He's very good on the counter press, on the break.
Yeah,
get it forward.
Box,
he's box to box, so which means he's frantic.
Yeah.
He plays the same role that Kovacic plays in the Chelsea lineup. Get it forward. You know, that transitional play. Thiago is that conductor, that person who says, no, I'm going to play the extra pass because I can see what's happening. I mean, it just... It's January and we're talking about what scraps we can potentially pick up on in the wake of Manchester City. I personally don't feel as though this title race is over. I feel it's going to be very, very hard. I'm not going to sit here and say we're better and we're going to catch City. It's going to be very, very hard to catch Manchester City. It's always hard to catch Manchester City. This isn't anything new. We know this. This is nothing new. So I don't know why our fan base is sat here in total hysteria and shock that Manchester City are where they are. But let's not forget that, you know, Arsenal potentially showed the blueprint of how to beat Manchester City. They went toe to toe with them. It was this is just it. But nothing.
Champions, isn't it? That's the thing. That's what champions do. They get dominated at times, but they win.
But this is what I'm saying. And so I don't know why we're talking any different. In the year when we won it, we were exactly the same as Manchester City.
Yeah, we're making it through. Yeah,
teams would come and they'd think of the Villa game. Mane, last minute, head down with the boots. How many times did we do that? So I can't sit here and say I'm expecting anything different from Manchester City. We've got to go out and just do our job, which is a case of try and hang on to their coattails as best as we possibly can. We've got a game in hand. We must win that game in hand.
Well, that's with Leeds, isn't it? If we win that game against Leeds in hand, it's an 8-point gap, I believe.
Okay. To then go, it is a lot, but we still have to then go and play Manchester City, which then cuts that to 5. If we beat them.
11.
Exactly. But I feel we've got enough to beat Manchester City. I don't.
Not for me.
100%. Our best 11 versus their best 11, we beat them. We have enough to beat them.
But in terms of form guide, not. I mean, it's when do we play them? It's not till for a while, is it?
No, it's not for a while. But this is the thing. If you're looking, but the challenge is, and this is where Liverpool are faltering, and this is where, and you and I are very shared in our view on this. Brighton, Brentford,
West Ham, Leicester.
West Ham, Leicester. We should not be dropping points in those games. It's okay to drop points to your title rivals as such. It's okay to draw those games because you look at that and you go, do you know what? We've drawn. It was a frantic game. We've made it out of there with a point. Yeah, we've made it out of there with a point. But when we're going and we're dropping points at those kind of teams against makeshift back fours like Leicester, that's where the issue lies. It's not to do with the brilliance of Manchester City. It's not to do with the brilliance of Manchester City. We are the architects of our own downfalls. So I don't look at Manchester City and fear them in any way, shape, or form. I don't fear them in any way, shape, or form. They're not doing anything which I don't expect from them.
No, I agree. I mean, head to head, if we were to draw Manchester City in the quarterfinals or the semi-finals of the Champions League, I would be all up for it. I think we'd have a really good go at them.
Yes,
but you're right. In terms of a league, in terms of squad size, squad depth, I mean, we lose Salah and Mane now. You know, if we'd have beaten those teams that you mentioned, we would have had another 10 points and we'd still be a point behind Man City. Yes, with a game in hand, but, you know, they've failed to win in 4 matches this season. We've now failed to win in 8.
Exactly.
So that's exactly it. I remember back in the day when we were trying to win the league with Gerrard and we draw with Stoke a couple of times, or, newly promoted teams and 0-0 at home to Burnley, or, draw with Middlesbrough. And you think, if we'd have just won that game, 4 points, we were off the league once with Man United as well. And you think, to win a Premier League, it is relentless. It is every week you have to win. And the only times we've been in with a shout, and as we've said before, is when we've gone on these ridiculous seasons where we've been near perfect. And Man City have stumbled at times, but realistically, 17 wins in 21 games is insane.
The difference is they don't draw games, and they very rarely lose them. The difference is we very rarely lose games, but we draw a lot of games, and we don't win enough of them.
Yeah, there's been times in the league table. There's been times in the table where I've looked at the end of the season, whether that's 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and we've lost less games than the title winners. But because we've drawn double what they've drawn,
exactly,
could not agree more.
Exactly, and that's what I said. This is what I'm saying. We are the architects of our own downfall. If you look at the we should not be drawing to Brentford. We should not be drawing to Brighton. We should be putting those teams to bed. And if you draw against the Chelsea, you go, do you know what? What a game of football. And this is why looking at the game, I'm not pissed about the game. There's a lot of comments in here which go, oh, it's terrible. I'm not upset about that game of football, because that was a fantastic advert for the Premier League. It was two sensational teams going head to toe. That's what you want to see. That's why we watch football. You want to see that level of football played. That's probably the best game of football we've seen this year. I'm telling you now, that game will be played in 7 years on the TV, the same way they play the 2014 game 7 years later. We'll be playing that game 7 years later. I can guarantee you.
I think if there was a winner,
game of football.
If there was a winner in that game, I think that would have been one of the old Premier League classics. But
I still think it will be, because it was a fantastic game of football.
I think the first half was Chelsea, fair play to get back into that game from 2-0 down. But in the 42nd
moments of brilliance.
In the 42nd minute, 2-0 up. If you're serious, you don't concede twice before half time. Once was bad enough to get the game back on. To go back to where you were at the beginning, for me is really poor. And we had that same old Liverpool, 45-60. Nothing happens at all. Chelsea grow into the game. They get more shots, more possession. The game's played in our half a lot. They're knocking on the door. We had a couple of chances. There was a Salah one when Mendy was just off his line. Mane, yes, he scored a goal, but I still thought he was poor today. That might be controversial looking at the comments, but I don't think Sadio Mane had a particularly good game. Jota again was quiet. Salah in bits was good as well, but not, again, his usual self. So for me, it's all about the depth now, because, we go on to the next couple of games, Palace and Brentford, without Salah, without Mane. Who's going to play up there? Because the players that come on today, Ox again didn't do anything for me. Keita again offers nothing, and Curtis Jones didn't have enough time to show anything. So, if these guys aren't coming back from COVID for 10 days, I think we're in big trouble.
But why? But this is the thing. Why are we playing Ox in a false nine position? He's not a false nine.
No, but
I get he can make shift play there, but take COVID out of the equation. No team in the Premier League has the luxury of 5 strikers.
No,
that's what we're saying here, that we should have 5 strikers. Bobby would have played had he not got COVID. So I think we take the COVID situation out of it. We're in a freak moment, where we've got an injury. Origi's injured. He's picked up an injury. I don't know how, because he hasn't played any sodding football. So I don't know how he's picked up an injury. But he's picked up an injury. Bobby's got COVID. Other than that, we would have had 4 fantastic options. We would have had Jota, Bobby, Mane, Salah. That's unreal. We're blessed to have that. And then the dropping, and I understand what you're saying. There is a huge drop in quality behind that. But you would expect that drop in quality in any Premier League team. Yeah,
I would just expect to look at the bench and go, he'll get a goal. And even if Firmino was on the bench today, I wouldn't be looking at him to come on and get a winner. Maybe 3 years ago, but not now.
No, look, I think you're being very harsh, because I think most teams in the Premier League if Manchester City have a Firmino, they solve a lot of their problems because they don't have a number 9. City don't even have a number 9. They don't even have one.
They got six goal scoring wingers though.
That's what I'm saying. They've got forward players, but they don't have a number 9. So I feel that we're phenomenally blessed with our depth. The issue is Origi for me is stale. He's stale. So we need another player to bring in, almost a young pretender, a hungry player who's got everything to prove and nothing to lose, who can come in and when he gets his chance, he takes it by the scruff of the neck. We don't have that up and coming young pretender. Origi is not that guy anymore. He's a seasoned professional. He's been around the block. He's played Champions League finals. Do you know what I mean? He's been around the block. So I would say he's a slightly older statesman in that respect.
But teams rarely keep the same front three as long as we have. You look at even Messi, Suarez, Neymar; they didn't last that long. You know, they were there, they were successful in a short period. But Firmino, Mane, Salah has been our front three for what, 5 years?
Well, they've been brilliant for 5 years.
Yeah, they've all been brilliant for 5 years. Bobby and Mane have definitely dipped at times, and Jota was that young pretender that you mentioned. He came in, ruffled some feathers, and started. Let's be fair, really edging out Mane and Firmino due to form and playing better. So I agree with you. I think we need to look in the transfer window again. If that's January, great, because we need them now. If it's the summer, which it usually is, we have to wait 6 months to fix an obvious problem. Then we look and we go again next season, because I just feel that Mane, Firmino, even Salah at times are just too comfortable because they are not challenged at all. You know, we've got one of the front four out. There's no one else because Origi isn't there, and even when he is, sometimes isn't even used. But we need one more person in there, because
I agree.
They've just, like, you look at Manchester City, and I know Man City are different, but if we want to compete with them, we have to compare ourselves to them. They can drop a Grealish and a Foden for 3 weeks and be like, never mind.
But this is the challenge. But this is the challenge lies. The main challenge lies with, if you are Liverpool Football Club, taking Manchester City out of this, because I'll come back to them. You've got to go into the market, convince someone of good quality, because you don't just want to bring in any old trash.
No, not at all.
You're talking about bringing in someone of quality. So we're talking about like a Rafinha is what we're talking about. So you've got to turn around and say to Rafinha, yeah, come to Liverpool, but guess what? The best player in world football plays in your position.
Yeah.
It's going to be very hard. Do you see what I'm saying? It's going to be very hard.
So in a front three, we've got 5 options. In a front three for Man City, they've got about 8 or 9. So,
well, this is it. And then the money side of things come in, and then you've got to turn around and say to someone of Rafinha's level, to turn around and say to him, listen, you ain't going to play week in, week out. We're going to rotate, yeah, but we're going to pay you 150, 200,000 pounds a week for the privilege. Do you fancy it? That's what Manchester City say. We're going to play you 300,000 a week for the privilege. Do you fancy it? Respectfully, Riyad Mahrez is nowhere near the quality of what we have in terms of Salah, Mane, Firmino, Jota, but he's paid more than them because Manchester City throw stupid amounts of money at the situation. And it's not a slur at Manchester City. This isn't me turning around and saying, oh, money, X, Y, Z. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that they are in an extremely privileged position. And I respect it. They're in an extremely privileged position to be able to do it. I respect it. That's their mantra. That's how they go about things. Fantastic. Us as Liverpool Football Club, even prior to FSG, we have never done business that way. We've never done it that way. We've never been in a position ever where we have gone into the market and we've had 3 or 4 or whatever. We've never done it. We've always gone and got that young pretender, that player, and we've molded them. We've molded players over the years. Suarez, we molded him. Coutinho, we molded him. You know, those boys there were nothings when they came to us. They were nobodies. Torres, we made these players who they are. The same way as we've made Mane. We've made we've made Firmino, we've made Jota,
Yeah,
we've made Salah.
It is that transition time, though, isn't it? Because you look, we didn't win anything before we bought a world-class goalie and a world-class centre-back. We had to do it. We splashed the cash. Yes, we made the money with a sale, but we spent it on what we needed. And I genuinely feel that a number 9 and a centre mid of the same price, the same quality, a few years down the line are now needed. I think
I agree.
You look at the goalie situation, Addison and Kelleher, brilliant. 2 good left backs, 1 good right back, 4 good centre backs, 3 that are actually playing at the minute. Hopefully Gomez comes back into form and gets some game time. I'd like to see him maybe in the FA Cup, something like that. But midfield for me is where it's starting to feel a little bit old, a little bit stale. Hendo, Milner, Thiago, all in their 30s or very close to it. Jones and Elliott, I don't think should be starting just yet, but are very good options off the bench. And Ox and Keita are too inconsistent for me. So I think we need another top quality centre midfielder, whether that's a Tielemans, whether that's that guy that you mentioned from Mönchengladbach,
Dennis
potentially
Sakara,
as well.
yeah.
Sakari, yeah. And then I think we need a 9 because you've got Mane or Jota left, you've got Salah on the right. Firmino, isn't a goal scorer anymore. And yes, he was very good as a false 9, but for me, we need to go and get not necessarily a Haaland, but Vlahovic. We need to go and get a guy that's going to help Salah out because there was rumours that he was holding off signing a new deal until he got some help up the top for some goal scorers. Goal scoring. And I don't really blame him because he's the only one that scores consistently.
I agree with you, and so maybe that is something that we could potentially see usher in the new era because we've got Julian Ward taking over things as of the summer, and from what I'm led to believe, he's not as measured in his approach as the outgoing man is Michael Edwards. He's more. Let's just get it done. From what I'm led to believe, he's more. Let's just get it done. If there is, but I also believe, like I said, like we were discussing earlier on, and I don't want to turn this into a transfer Tuesday
we got that
show
soon.
because we've got that coming. But I do believe that this summer that there is massive value to be had in the market. There is huge value to be had in the market. You look at players which are running their deals down. Rudiger at Chelsea's running his deal down. Not to say that I want Rudiger, but Rudiger at Chelsea's running his deal down. But based on the football he's played this season, freaking hell, like he's actually doing all right. You got Azpilicueta's running his deal down. There's seasoned pros. Mbappe, it hasn't signed a new contract. Haaland's fast approaching 2 years left on his deal. Tielemans is got a year left on his deal. Matthias Ginter at Mönchengladbach is got a year left on his deal and can sign. His deal finishes in the summer, and he can sign pre-contracts with clubs as of January. Dennis Zakaria also at Mönchengladbach. Deal runs out in the summer, can sign pre-contracts with clubs in January. The football landscape is changing massively in terms of what these players are looking at doing. With their deals, and free agency is starting to become a real thing that players are seriously considering in order to get those big moves. We saw it happen with Alaba. He went to Real Madrid, and arguably Real Madrid were looking like they were in the mud, but he's got an aspiration of playing for Los Blancos for that level of club. So there's a lot of value to be had out there, and I don't want to spoil Transfer Tuesday shows at all because you've got some big shows coming up, and we will get into this in massive detail. But I do have a theory about how Liverpool are now approaching their business in terms of the transfer market because of what we're seeing in this landscape, and I'll delve into that more in the Transfer Tuesday shows. I mean, let's get into a couple of these comments because I feel like we've been ignoring you guys.
Get involved.
Jeffrey, shout out to you, my man. Thank you for joining us. Diego is great, but I think he's a super sub. My thoughts exactly.
You did say that.
I don't think he's a starter still that still makes us champions. I agree. I think his best performances always come off the bench. For me, the way Firmino plays is just different. The positions that he picks up, the way that he drifts in between the lines, Jota can't do that yet. He can't.
But the reason he's been starting and not a super sub is because Firmino has not been consistent and doesn't score any goals. That's the problem.
and had injuries
Yeah.
respectively. I think
So
I do agree with what you're saying in terms of I think we are reaching the penultimate point in Firmino's Liverpool career. I
yeah,
don't think there's any more upward trajectory from Firmino in this Liverpool career.
I think
Jota,
Mane could be
and
fascinated with that as well.
I think Mane as well. I don't think it gets any better.
No, I
I
agree.
think they're now at a point where they're plateauing in terms of their performances.
Yeah,
And you're right, reinforcements are needed, not necessarily to put those guys on their toes, but in those games where they're struggling to
yeah.
find the key.
Another option:
So
rotation, fitness, freshness.
exactly, rotation, and that's where Manchester City are the masters of. They
That's why
just
they're
rotate,
frequent, yeah.
rotate,
Absolutely.
which is absolutely fantastic. What's this one here? Mad to have let the most consistent, the most available midfielder to leave in Ginny. Oh God, boring.
He's right though. I've been saying it for about 6 months now. I knew it would come back to bite us.
I don't think again. I don't think it has, because I think and look, I respect his availability is a huge thing. That's where I do feel that it may have come back to bite us. But I feel we found another way of playing in terms of the amount of ball we have, the tempo, we dictate play, and sort of
We won nothing without him, haven't we? We've won nothing without him.
Again, and we're only season 1 into it, you know, of Gini Wijnaldum leaving. And hindsight's a wonderful thing. I just think this conversation needs to be put to bed with the Coutinho conversation and the Suarez conversation and the Torres conversation. Now we've got to look forwards and look at how Liverpool are lining up at the moment. You know, I'm not gonna name check and quote legacy Summers and all of that, but we are into a transitional period.
Definitely, yeah. That's the thing. We've stood still for. There's been quite a few summers, and it's become a bit of a running joke, isn't it, that we don't spend any money. And you know, once we won the Champions League, once we won the league, that's where you think, okay, this team's good, but we've got a plan for. We've got to get that 1 or 2 players in per summer to keep this rolling, to keep this above Manchester City, and we didn't, and Man City did. And even though they haven't bought a striker, they have bought in a lot of players. You know, Cancelo has done really well. Grealish they've brought in as well, which, you know, is still to probably show his best form. So I just feel that, like you say, the word stale, I think suits us quite perfectly at the moment, because we're realistically, if you pick our first 11, it's been pretty similar first 11 for quite a while now. There's not really anybody else in there that's not been, you know, that's a new signing in that first 11. Everybody fit, everybody available. It's only really that third centre midfielder that's not been there forever. So I do think it is time to bring in some fresh faces, which we will start to get into from Tuesday.
Definitely. I mean, this one here, letting Ginny go was not the problem. Not replacing him will come back to bite us in the arse. We have replaced him, whether we like it or not. We have replaced Gini Wijnaldum. His replacement is Thiago. That is his replacement, whether we like it or not. What we haven't replaced, and what we knew that we were getting when we signed Thiago, because his injury record and his availability, if you look at how many games he's played for Liverpool, and if you look at how many games he played for Bayern consistently, there is no difference. We knew what we were signing. Where I feel the club has failed is if we're looking to replacements, Naby Keita's still here.
Yeah.
Ox is still here. That's not a disrespect to those players, yeah? But their availability has been poor in comparison to a Thiago. Their availability has been poor. You could turn around and say Thiago has been incredibly unfortunate. Comes into the club, COVID, the injury against Everton, comes back and played a lot of football. He played a lot of football from when he came back right towards the end of the season. He's now got COVID again. He's now injured again. Little niggly things that start to come into play when you're a 29, 30-year-old player. We're seeing it with Firmino. Little niggly injuries that start to come into play.
Yeah.
Henderson, little niggly injuries.
Brazilians don't tend to play into their mid-30s, do they? So Firmino has never really been blessed with pace, has he? I think it might be time to change, because, like you mentioned, we tried to change our identity a little bit. We had the fast pace. Gini was very much a Klopp midfielder, wasn't he? You know, end to end, box to box, height, heavy metal, and then we brought Thiago to kind of look after the possession a bit more and not just give it away. You don't have to try and score every time you get the ball, which is what we did do in the first few years under Klopp. And I think that might need to change now. Maybe the opposite way round. We've had Firmino, the presser, the defensive striker, which is a load of rubbish, but playing in a certain way that you don't expect your number 9 to be your top goal scorer. I think we need to probably change that to think, do you know what? We need to find now a goal scoring number 9, and Jota has filled that role really well. Whether he can be Liverpool's number 9 main striker consistently for 3-4 years and lead us to titles and Champions Leagues remains to be seen. Could he be moved to the left and be a very good goal scoring winger when Mane hits the 31-32 mark? More so, I would say. So I do think that number 9 is the key position to find, and that third midfielder. And I agree, Thiago, yes, did come in to do something different, but he's heading into his 30s. He's not going to get more. He's not going to get more consistent and more available. He's going to become less so. These little niggles that he keeps picking up with age are only going to get worse. He's featured in 11 games out of 20 in the Premier League, which is 50%. 55%. It's not good enough.
But which I agree with you. I don't disagree. But do you think that there's a blueprint here? Because we look at Milner. Milner's 36.
Yeah. What a
He's
legend.
not. There's no. Mate, fantastic. But there's no sign of a new deal. Yeah. Is Thiago then going to kind of take on that elder statesman kind of role solely because?
Yeah, I would agree.
In any dressing room, I don't care about availability.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. Take that out of it at the moment. In any dressing room in world football, you need a man that knows how to do it.
Yeah.
Thiago has won titles everywhere he's been. Yeah. He's won. He knows how to win. So the best Manchester United teams have had that man in there. The best City teams have had that man in there. The best Chelsea teams have had those type of men in there. There's no kind of coincidence when big teams go out and sign older players and you think that man ain't going to play. He's very rarely going to play, but it's not what he does on the field. It's what he does off the field with the younger players. Curtis Jones and Elliott walking into training every day and seeing that man in your dressing room, that's a huge thing. I'm sorry, those players never would have looked, and respectfully to Gini Wijnaldum, those players would never have looked at Gini Wijnaldum in the same way they're going to look at Thiago Alcantara. They're not going to do that. They're never going to look at Gini in the same way they look at Milner. Do you know what I mean? A journeyman, a statesman. So he has a role to play. He does.
And if we say that Thiago, let's say about next season, we can think, do you know what? If you give us 50% of the games in the competitions, we're happy with that. So it's finding that third starting midfielder, isn't it?
Yes.
Because for me, Ox and Keita are not starters consistently in this team, even if they shared it, not good enough. Jones and Elliott are really good youngsters to come in here and there, but again, I don't want to go into the 22-23 season, no disrespect, with Elliott expected to play 45 games because he's 17.
I think he would have. I think he would have been playing a lot of games because, mate, you and I were both shocked when we went to the first game of the season, and we were like, when we saw the team sheet, we were like, "Oh my god!" You and I both looked at each other. You and I both looked at each other like, Klopp's lost his head. Like, didn't we? We both said,
"No."
I
agree, and I think that's good. Youngsters ride a wave, don't they? So when they're riding that wave, you play him. Jones has ridden that wave and got game time, and then he's come off that wave and he's had time out of the team because of his age. And Elliott, I think, without that horrific injury, would have been the same. He started really well. He would have had a natural dip. He's 17, and he would have come in. He would have come out. Would have come in and come out. We're trying to win the Champions League and the Premier League. We need a third starting midfielder that's world class, that's going to go into that team, and play 40 games, guaranteed. We don't have that minute.
Looking around at the availability of players, there isn't anybody out there. And again, I'm very in touch with players European around in multiple different positions. I can tell you that there isn't anybody around that's remotely available that you could prize out of any team that's going to be world class.
Where mine is, but we'll leave that for Tuesday.
But respectfully, he's not world class. Same as Fabinho when he came in was not world class.
You can see that he's that close, and a Klopp would do it.
I don't think he is. I said this to you, and again, we don't want to reveal the name.
No,
but
wait till Tuesday.
I said this to you, and I think I've presented to you better value in the market. Because what I want you to do before Tuesday,
All right.
yeah,
Do
and
some
I know
homework.
you, yeah, go and do some homework on
Okay.
the player I presented to you today. Go and do some serious homework, and you will see the difference between their combined stats. Because I did this over this season so far, and last season isn't too dissimilar, Sunshine.
But you're
And
comparing two different leagues.
right, and I get it. The only thing that this man has over that man is Premier League experience, and I
Oh, he's
did
giving it
concede.
away.
No, and I did concede that today. The only thing I see different is the Premier League experience, but
Yeah.
I could potentially forego that if I'm staring down the barrel of 50, 60 M's when we need to go out and get a top quality striker.
I'm here for this comment right here. I think we need a mass exodus of the deadwood, and we need to bring in, maybe get rid of 6 and bring in 4, that kind of thing. Because the 6 you're getting rid of don't play anyway.
Millie has been an amazing servant to Liverpool Football Club. Yeah, he's been an amazing servant. He's done everything that he set out to do. That he was an elder statesman when he came in. He's been an amazing servant. Yeah, he came in a transitional period under Brendan Rodgers through to Klopp, and he's been fantastic. Cool. He would leave with he would be given the freedom of the city. Yeah,
he's a legend.
He's a legend now. Yeah, cool. And he's not only is he a legend at Liverpool Football Club, he's a legend of the Premier League era.
Yeah, totally
credit to him. Yeah, and I think that's naturally going to phase out. Origi, I think he's done everything that he possibly can do at Liverpool Football Club, and this isn't a slur on Origi. I think it's gone stale. It's now time for him to go and find a new.
If we're talking about a new striker, Firmino becomes the backup or the rotation option, doesn't he? And Origi leaves.
Well, yeah, and I think it's fair to say that he could go and find a new challenge somewhere else because he's still young enough to go to another club and score goals. Yeah, cool. Minamino, I like Minamino because you need those players which contribute in those cup games because he scored in all his cup games. He serves a purpose. So I wouldn't be so fast to kick him out the door. Keita is a conundrum for me because he frustrates the life out of me. We've never seen what we paid for. We've never seen it.
We never will.
So look, stranger things have happened. We've never seen what we've paid for. I'm yet to be enamored by Naby Keita. And sometimes it feels like we're constantly bashing him. But that's only because we know what we paid. We know how damn good he was. Why the fuck are we not seeing it? It's as simple as that. And that's how far my comments on Naby Keita go. Ox has been incredibly unlucky because of the injuries, but I do feel it could be time to say, do you know what? We need a refresh. So yes, the crucial thing is that we talk about value in the market, and every single team in the Premier League is in similar positions when we talk about value in the market. We're all chasing the same players. We've got to reinvent ourselves and look at what we can find out there in the market. The value has to be there. And that's where the issue is. There's no value there over and above what we already have. Plus, moving these players on.
It's not always easy.
It's not easy. You can see that Liverpool have held on with so many players for so long to actually get some money out of them, and we don't back down. Look at what we sold Brewster for. Solanke, Fraser, not Fraser, Brad, whatever his name was.
Brad
Smith, whatever his name was. Yeah, we got top dollar for these players. So we just hold on. So I understand. Look, there. Yeah, baby.
Same manager as well.
Yeah, baby.
Eddie Howe loves finding Liverpool reserves.
Do you know what I mean? But that's the problem. That is the problem. Look, and look, comments like this I resent. Taki not good enough. Cup players need to be good enough to do a job in a big. It's not about the name of the player. It's about the personnel, guys. He
has a point, but I think if Minamino was one of them players that are only used in the cup, then he's great. But I get what you're saying, because our squad is so small. We don't have the luxury of having a cup player. We need Minamino to be doing bits off the bench in the Prem as well. So I get Jeffrey's point.
He's good enough. He's good enough to come in against Burnley. He's good enough to play against Southampton. It's just that there's a loyalty thing with Liverpool. We don't ever.
It's just an A and a B team,
away for those. Yeah, it's a loyalty thing. We don't ever drift away from that 13 or 14 players,
Right. Yeah.
you know, which is
The trusted ones.
exactly, which is what is affecting us. You
Mm.
don't look at Manchester City, and again, I don't subscribe to this whole, oh well, they've got all these star players. Cancelo, who? He was a nobody before he went to Manchester City. Ruben Diaz, he was a nobody before he went to Manchester City. Nathaniel Ake, a nobody before he went to City. Edison, nobody before he went to City. City have done phenomenally well in scouting the market.
Yeah.
But when we go and do it, there's a problem. There's no problem with going out and scouting the market. It's just they've gone and got these players that fit into their system, and the spine of their team has got some expensive signings. Jack Grealish was 100 M's because he was English. You played an English player tax. But outside of that, name me their other big money signings that are in that team today. There's none. There is none. So we can't keep throwing this City money thing at them. They were in for Virgil van Dijk when we were in for Virgil van Dijk, and they pulled away from the table because they said we ain't paying £75 million. We did.
Yeah, thank
They
God.
were in. But that's what I'm saying. We
Be a
were in.
monopoly if we didn't.
It would be, of course, it would. We were in. They were in for Romelu Lukaku, as revelations have come out over the last couple of days. But they weren't paying £90 million. So let's stop here. Let's stop playing this violin that Manchester City have got more money than us in terms of their signings. They don't. They go out and they buy system players that fit the way that Pep Guardiola wants to play. And yes, they pay them bucket loads of money because they know they have to pay them bucket loads of money.
Keep them happy.
To keep them happy. We don't do that. We're not going to go and pay someone £250,000 a week to sit on our bench because it doesn't represent value to us. We may as well keep the players which we've got, which also arguably, shock horror, fit into our system. The issue we have with these players isn't their quality, it's their freaking availability. That's it. If we swap these players out, we're only swapping them for able deputies which are available. That's our problem.
Yeah, I couldn't put it better myself. I mean, it's an interesting in terms of the fixtures. We don't play another Premier League game until 2 weeks today. Now we've got cup with Arsenal 2 legs and Shrewsbury. So you know, there's going to be other games played before we get back into the Premier League. And again, you know, we return against Brentford. That's going to be without Mane, without Salah. We then go to Palace, who are in decent form as well. 2 teams that are still picking up points consistently, and then you would hope by the 10th of February, unless Mane or Salah get to the final, they should be back for home to Leicester, which, you know, it's becoming must wins, isn't it? Really now with the table, if you want to cling on to that league title, or if you accept it's a battle for second. But you know, for me, I think it is now a case of you got to win it. All these games that you mentioned, that you know, sometimes we take a draw and say, oh, it's not the end of the world. Unfortunately, now it is. You know, you've got Brentford, Palace, Leicester, Burnley, Norwich, and then West Ham. You've got to get 16, 18 points out of that. And because, you know, Man City are getting minimum 16, 18 points out of their next 6. So it's going to be really tough league title run in. You know, we've got to go to Man City and win. We've got to hope Chelsea beat Manchester City in a couple of weeks as well. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the league. But for me, I think it's going to be incredibly difficult now. And
it will be.
That game in hand over Chelsea, we've got, against Leeds, we've got to win it still. We've still got to go to City ourselves. But yeah, I think the reason we're talking about transfers is because we know that this squad right now hasn't quite got enough.
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult. But Manchester City are kind of got the perfect storm at the moment. They've not really been affected by any injuries.
True.
Dare I say it? And this seems so wrong. And please don't get me wrong. They've not been affected by any COVID really at the moment in this year so far.
Yeah.
What with this season, everything's gone well for them. But you need that to win titles. It was the same for us.
Yeah.
Everything went perfect for us. So we
literally had the same 11 without an injury for 2 years and won the big 2.
Exactly.
And then we didn't. And then we had injuries galore.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not mad. I'm not going to sit here and slur Manchester City. I'm not mad. We just have to focus on our own jobs. And again, it comes back to the sheer fact that you have to put Brighton, Brentford, and arguably West Ham to the fucking sword. That's the bottom line of it.
That is the bottom line, because you've mentioned it. We have a 13, 14 player A-team squad that only are trusted in the big games. And if they're all playing brilliantly, we'll win something. If they're not, we've not got a 15th and a 16th and a 17th player of the same level to come in and change it up, like a Mahrez and a Sterling can come in for Foden and a Grealish. We haven't got a Bernardo Silva that can come in for a De Bruyne because he's going for a rough period. We've got what we've got. We've got 14, 15 players that play week in, week out. And if some of our best players in that team drop,
having an off day,
have an off day, so do we. And we've got, and even into that next game, we can't go, oh, well, you six were crap, so we're going to bring a different six in. We don't have that, and Man City do. And like you say, it's not a slur on them. They run their club differently. That's why they've had so much success. We've seen United with the money in the 90s. We've seen Chelsea in the early 2000s. And we've seen City now. And yeah, you know, you need a bit of luck. You need a bit of real quality, because if you do, you know, the best Premier League team on paper, there's 5 or 6 Liverpool players in there for me. But
yes,
unfortunately, you know, Manchester City's 23 is a hell of a lot better than ours. And in COVID and in injuries, that's the difference in 38 games. That's why we've been more successful in the Champions League, really, over the last 10 years, I'd say.
So before we close, and I'm gonna put this to the viewers as well, because we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
If we finish this year in second, and I'm not writing the year off before anybody starts getting into hysterics on the Twitter timeline or whatever. I'm not writing the season off. But if we were to finish second, win the League Cup and the Champions League,
sounds good to me.
Is that a good season for you? Are you happy with that?
I mean, I don't think you can ask a question, if we win the Champions League, are you happy? I think that would be yes for everybody. I think if we got to the final or the semi-final and won a League Cup and came second, I think that's more of a are you happy question.
Okay, yeah, let's do that then. So if we got to the semi-finals or if we got to the finals of the Champions League or semi-finals of the Champions League, yeah, right, semi-finals, and we're in a thrilling game like we were today, and we go out, yeah, and we've given it a good run, we've swept everyone aside, and then we win a League Cup and we finish second, does that represent success for you?
If we won the FA Cup as well, yes.
So you want a cup double, whatever way. You want a cup double.
For me,
whatever way.
Success for Liverpool now is a Premier League, a Champions League, or both domestic cups.
Or
one
a cup double.
3.
Okay, cool. Cool. Now this is interesting. This is very interesting. Because for Manchester City, they measure themselves on winning the league every single year. They're not interested in Champions League to a degree. If they win the league and a cup, they're thrilled. They're absolutely thrilled. Yeah. So it's a good place to close, because it just shows you the difference between the club's aspirations. Because a squad like, and again, this is not a slur on Manchester City. We sit here and we fluff up how amazing Manchester City squad are, and we're like, they're so good. They're so good. If they can't be got at, why are they not doing what the Manchester United teams in the 90s done? Trebles. Yeah, they've not then, and we're talking the big treble. Forget Premier League.
Treble they did, didn't they?
Yeah, forget that. We're talking big ears, Premier League, and a domestic cup. They're not doing that. They can be got at, and this is why I say we are the architects of our own downfalls. Stop sitting there and blaming Manchester City for their riches and all of this. This is about us doing, where is it? This is about us doing stupid shit like this.
Yeah.
I
think that's it, yeah. I agree.
Or stupid shit like that. Yeah, that's what it's about. We've done it every year. That's the bottom line.
We just seem better in those big games. You know, Manchester City have lost to Spurs, to Monaco, to Lyon, to Madrid. They've gone out so many times to bang average opposition in the Champions League. Yeah. And we rise our game for those games. And like you say, Man City at the start of the season, Pep Guardiola goes, win the league. That's it. If we win the league, I'm happy. Liverpool, we're looking at, because of our history and our love affair with the Champions League, we look at it equally. I feel. I think the fan base is very split. If you chose one or the other, I think it's before we won the Prem, it was everyone wanted to win the Prem, but now we've won both recently. I think Premier League versus Champions League as a preference is very 50-50. for Liverpool. I think Man City are still like win the league, win the league, win the league. So that's what I'm waiting for, because I feel, yes, you're right. Liverpool this season don't quite have enough in the Premier League for 38 matches to match Man City squad for squad. They just don't. It's a fact. Unfortunately, we're going to fight for it, but it's not, it's tough. Champions League one-off games. If we get a bit of luck, bit of consistency, we rise our game. We're good under pressure. We're good under the lights. We're good in that competition, that style of play. Salah and Mane are firing. We can beat Man City in a head-to-head two-legged type. We can beat Chelsea. We can beat anybody. So roll on into Milan, because I think realistically now, yes, we're in a Carabao Cup semi-final. FA Cup, who knows, because we've got to play our reserve team 2 or 3 times before we get to the business end. But if we can focus on the Champions League, we can get past Inter into the quarterfinals. I think top 4 is guaranteed. Let's be fair. So I think you'll quickly see Liverpool's eyes slowly turn to the European side of things come February, March time.
Yeah, and I think we always have had kind of one eye on that, because the way that we're synonymous with the Champions League. With the history that we've got with the Champions League is unrivaled by any other English team. We are the kings of Europe. I think we're 3rd in terms of the overall winners of the Champions League, aren't we? 3rd or 4th in terms of overall winners.
I think, is it 13 Madrid, 7 Milan, and we're 6 with Bayern, something like that.
With Bayern, yeah.
Like that.
So we're joint 3rd. We're joint 3rd.
Like
we were 3rd. Then Bayern's win equaled our 6, I think.
Okay.
Guys in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, Bayern's win equaled our 6. But Chelsea has still got Club World Cup to go to, B.
Wish it was Man City, because that would have made the difference, maybe.
Oh, yeah. But I'm just saying, there's still a lot to happen. Yeah, there's still a lot to happen.
Long way to go.
This has been the Red Sea Full-Time Show. Normally these are half an hour, 40 minutes, but we rambled on because we've gone across so many different things. Guys, make sure you're locking in on Tuesday, which is our next show, isn't it?
Yep, Tuesday, Transfer Tuesday, the first one.
Tuesday kicks off. I'm telling you guys, if you have not seen our Transfer Tuesday shows, you've got an opportunity to go back, watch the last couple, because these are absolutely epic. Yep. We delve into players that are linked with the club that you guys may or may not have heard of. But I'm telling you now, they're linked. I mean, I threw one up at SS today and you were like, who's he? And then I've sent you little stats and stuff, and you're now looking, going, actually, do you know what I mean? Definitely. So, guys, make sure you lock in. It's going to be an epic one. I'm telling you,
it's a busy week. Arsenal as well.
Arsenal in there as well. It's banging. Hold on. I'd do anything for what's that? Hold on. For a 2-hour show. Mate, that was the last Transfer Tuesday, the final deadline day one, wasn't it? That went off.
You had Paul Machin and Terry from the Terrace as well, didn't you? Together.
I had a couple pass through on that one. We had quite a few. Where were you? I can't remember.
I was watching it in a caravan in Weymouth.
Oh yeah, you
no internet.
You were on holiday, weren't you? You were a little breakaway, weren't you?
Log into the local Wi-Fi. It was shocking.
you on a little breakaway. Breakaway. Yeah, we could talk football forever.
We could be here for another couple of hours quite easily. The thing is, with me and James, it doesn't actually stop. We end the show, but we carry on
in the chat. Yeah,
it's 24 hours.
Yeah, I know. And guys, I promise you, I'm going to get this Discord group off the ground. I am going to do it because we could be in there talking football for forever as well. I agree. But we could be here all night if we start getting into Mane's performance. But guys, thank you for joining us. Make sure you are liking and subscribing to the Red Sea Podcast so you catch everything Red Sea Podcast related. I've been Thiago's father. This has been SS. We are over. Oh, hold on. You're late, mate.
Where you been?
Late. Where you been? You're late. I'll be pissed off too because you've missed a great show. Normally you're in there contributing in the chat. Yeah, normally you're in there throwing some curveballs up for me, LJ. I'll be pissed as well. Where you been, mate? Where you been? Good. Right.
See you later, guys.
Take care, guys.